to me, it's pretty clear that the most important thing a Gen Zer can focus on and understand deeply is that the thinker is the thought, and also to see something like SPX6900. Today, this morning, we're just gonna have a little cigarette, sip on some Auto Heal, shout out Aeon One. I'll link it below. The whole site is sick. And we'll just have a little cigarette. It is 8:15, 8:22. There you go. See it. Woke up hella early today on a weekend. I don't know why. But nonetheless, enjoying a great morning. So let's sip on a little bit of a Auto Heal. This isn't Diet Coke, straight up regular Coke, but it looks pretty. So let's have a cigarette. And yeah, I read a tweet the other day, and it said that the average person needs to make 500 grand a year to live the same life as someone who made minimum wage in 1971. And that's kind of crazy to think about, but you know, we just kind of chalk it up to inflation, right? We're just like, all right, whatever. But that data alone doesn't tell the whole story, because we live in the best period. This is the best time to be alive. I'd rather be alive today than 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Fuck all the great shit that happened back then. I don't care. I want to be living now, you know? But the data does tell a story, you know? The Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You need to have food. You need to have a shelter, some clothes on your back, you know? And for the average Gen Z, like, we just have a PC. Especially after COVID, you know? Only thing that really took off was Amazon, Nvidia. People bought their own PC and just escaped, you know? In the 80s and the 90s, you couldn't hold these kids together. They were running off to a different state, running off to another place, you know? And now we're just running off into the digital world, the games, the communities, right? And there's something to that. So we'll light this American spirit, get some sun in, and yeah. Cheers. Such a clean cigarette. I know that sounds a bit ironic, but it's such a clean cigarette. To me, it seems clear, like those two things can have great harmony together, because understanding that the thinker is the thought, it gives you insight into what breeds the misery, the conflict, the deep sorrows of everyday life. And you know, a problem demands a solution, but it's not clear that it ends, you know? It always lingers. And so you hear stories and someone says to you, yeah, man, that shit happened like a few months ago. I'm still thinking about it. It's like, jeez, you know? Yeah, man, 5 years ago, this event happened to me. And it's like, at some point, man, you gotta get over it. But even the language implies you get over it and not you don't go through it and drop the whole thing. And even though English is my second language, I can grasp it, you know? I can get a real sense of it in meditation. And I haven't lived the most luxurious life, you know? I grew up in a small village in India, in Dharamsala. I've seen genuine poverty, you know? When we were leaving, being in that taxi, the only thing that separated me from all the other kids was just that the glass. And seeing that level of poverty, it does something to you, you know? And then eventually when we came here, you know, I lived in a single bedroom apartment and moved around a lot. So you just kind of get good at socializing, get good at using your charm, you know? But in the back of your mind, you're like, this is not certain, you know? And in that same way, genuine problem of Gen Z is there. It's like the traditional path, it does not work anymore. And so we're opting out of that and creating something new instead of waiting for other people to do it for us. Because the average Joe, they want someone to tell them what to do. They want someone to shake them and say, hey, this is perfect, I'm saving you, you know? And it's unfortunate that crypto has such a bad rep towards the newcomers. Because you always need fresh blood. It's alive. It's a real alive thing, you know? But when they hear about crypto, their impression is painted by the newer people in crypto. The scammers, the grifters, people looking to pump and dump. And it leaves such a bad taste that you're just like, sorry, I can't really see it. But the OGs of crypto, there are some bad motherfuckers, man. They really had a quality of just not obeying. And I don't mean not obeying in a sense like they were punks and they just, you know, didn't listen to anybody. I mean that they really thought for themselves. They really questioned things. And they really wanted to make a change. And that they fell in love with Bitcoin not because of the technology of cryptography, but the community, what it was trying to do. And some of those are seeing SPX6900 and they're seeing the beauty of it. And so you naturally feel this responsibility to share, to talk about it. And so yeah, to me, it's the most important thing, man. It's like a Gen Zer, understand meditation in everyday life, not 15 minutes and then just carrying on thinking. Because the rich and the poor, they struggle with the same thing. It's why a billionaire is trying to be a trillionaire. A millionaire is trying to be a billionaire. It's never enough. And so it doesn't matter what the environment is. If you don't understand this, it's gonna keep persisting. The problem is gonna just keep coming. It's never gonna stop. And so we don't know what it is to be timeless. We don't know what it is to be fully present. And there's some beauty to seeing the current time and seeing something like SPX. There's some beauty to it, man. Hash this out. After all, it's our life, you know? Planes flying over. We'll just enjoy the cigarette for a bit. It's very important to not have conflict, to not have contradictions. Because in your everyday life, that's your world, man. So if you're anxious now, that is your life. If If you're afraid now, that is your life. If you're unhappy now, that is your life. And I promise you, no amount of success, no amount of luxuries are gonna ever change that. And that's coming from someone who's seen the lows of the lows, you know? And I'm not sitting here trying to play the status game either, you know? People who can't compete, people who can't create great businesses, who can't generate great wealth, they do the opposite. They play the opposite game. And they shame on people. They say, you're fucking dirty, man. All you care about is numbers. They lose the whole point. You need money. You need some level of security. You can't function without it. And that's what SPX is trying to do. Because the traditional life of waiting till you're 60, having a little bit of cash left over afterwards, it's not the same. And Gen Z is too smart for that. We see it. 50 years ago, that would have worked. But that's why you're seeing expressions of gambling. You're seeing expressions of extreme degeneracy. And can you blame them, right? After all, the pressure of your environment is so strong that it's terrifying to do the opposite thing. It's terrifying to go against the herd. But that is exactly what you need to do. Let's grab a little thumbnail, shall we? Should be good. You can see a little bit of my cat hair. Not my cat hair, my cat's hair. It's difficult to own like black shirts, you know, when you got a white cat. I got a white cat and a tabby cat, so it's just white fur everywhere. But I learned so much from observing them, man. When they're alert, they're fully alert. When they're sleeping, they're fully asleep. And it's a joy to watch. Because for the average individual, you have all this conflict and you go to sleep and your brain is still trying to figure it out. And so that's why you get dreams. Dreams are not something ethereal, something out there. It's the brain trying to figure shit out. So if you're really stressed, you're gonna probably have a stressful dream. If you've had great pleasures, you might have a dream that is chasing more pleasures. You know, if you're really turned on sexually and you can't find that satisfaction, you'll have a dream that is insanely arousing, you know, because the brain demands security, man. And so seeing that the thinker is the thought, that it's creating a reflection of the me thinking. It's a trick. And to see that, you're no longer trying to control every thought. And like a beautiful flower, you know, you let it blossom. You know, you might plant a seed, but you don't say, grow right now, grow today. You know, I want to change you right now. You have to give it water and just wait. In the same way, allow a thought to just grow. Because the one that's trying to control is just another thought. And then having a bit of that insight, look into something like SPX6900, what it's trying to do, what it stands for, and see the beauty of it. Because trading dissipates energy. Trading, thinking, always worried about your position, takes away all of your energy. But holding gives you this energy that you need to persist forever to flip the stock market. Because like we said, average Joe has an impression of crypto, which are people just looking for someone to tell them what to do. What's the next ticker? What's the next move? What's the next play? But the OGs, they weren't like that. They were looking at things at a deeper level. And they were great holders. Nice little cigarette. Persist forever.